Okay, good. Good afternoon, everybody. How we doing? Woo! Okay, good. First off, I want to just say to Victor and to the entire team, everybody included, thank you so much for putting this together. The feedback from everybody, just talking to everybody during lunch and coffee break and snacks has been really good. So what an amazing opportunity for Bucharest and Romania. So you guys rock. Congratulations. Okay. So I want to just share with you, my talk is going to be divided into three different sections, if you will. The first section is getting into the mindset, the philosophy of what we call entrepreneurial thinking. We're going to get into that. The second section is going to be about case studies, looking at real-life business examples of how they bring a fresh approach to business, and it makes all the difference. And the third part is going to be actually wrapping up with giving you some online tools that we use, that we recommend, that have totally exponentially grown our business tremendously, and I hope that you're able to apply it in a way that makes sense for you. And what I'll do is I'll pause between sections just to address any questions that you might have. So that sound fair? Okay, cool. Today's talk is called Business Architecture and Lifestyle Designs. And it's Designs with a Z because our book, The New Entrepreneurz, is with a Z. And that's one of the goodies, by the way. And our company is FreshBiz with a Z. So I just wanted to keep things consistent. Cool. Okay. So for starters, I wanted to just get a little personal. I flew over here from Israel. Crazy experience to go from summer to winter in less than 3 hours, but here we are. I'm originally from the United States of America, from New York. That's where I grew up. That's where I was raised. And I married my best friend, Rachel, about 17 years ago. We're together. I got married when I was like 4.5. And those are my, that's my Or, that's Yakir. And as of 2 months ago, we have a brand new little baby named Yosef as well. So a family of 5, pretty crazy. This is actually a picture when we went to go live in Thailand for last February and March. We were on the island of Koh Samui. And I'll get into that a little bit later today. Everything I do professionally or business-wise is so that I can have an incredible family and an incredible lifestyle. And I think that that's so interesting because it used to be that people were in a place of survival. They only focused on how they could have money to be able to do whatever they needed to do. And in today's new shared economy that we're living in, nowadays people really care about the experience of life. They care about the lifestyle. So business is just a way to support their family and their lifestyle and their values as opposed to the other way around. So that's a bit of a background about me. I've literally been an entrepreneur my entire life. I've been self-employed. I'm 38. I've been self-employed for the past 20 years. And for some of you, that might sound really cool, which I think it is. For some of you, that might sound like the craziest roller coaster of life, which it definitely is also. But it's been an amazing journey. I want to just give you some background in terms of where I come from. My background was from the place of training and sales. I ran a $1 million marketing company back in New York City before moving to Israel. And at one point, somebody invited me to do my first transformational weekend workshop. And I'm like, okay, that sounds cool. And I did the most life-changing thing I've ever done in my life. And from that moment on, I got into the world of self-development. And I've spent thousands and thousands of hours and thousands of dollars doing almost every workshop, seminar, training you possibly can imagine so that I can optimize my life and be a really awesome human. There's a great quote I love. It says, how you do anything in life is how you do everything in life. So you can see how someone is at business and you know exactly how they are with their family. You see how someone is when they're doing a task and you know exactly how they are over here. And it was important for me to optimize myself. And I just want to share with you one of the messages that we have with FreshBiz, and I'll tell you what it is. But one of, I guess, the key messages today is that things are changing nowadays so quick that the most important skill that you need to develop today is the skill of learning new skills. That's it. That's the only thing that matters, to get really good at the skill of learning new skills. It's called the growth mindset. Our company, FreshBiz, for the past 7.5 years, we've been running entrepreneurial game-based training experiences around the world to help entrepreneurs, small businesses, and companies become smarter and take on fresh approaches to their products, their services, and their business models. It's been an amazing journey. I'm really blessed. aside for having a good partner in life, Rachel, I have a really good partner in business. And that's my partner, Ronen Goffney, who you see up over there. I want to just put this out there, which is you can actually find Ronen's TED Talk. It's called The New Game of Business. And he gives a 14-minute, really powerful TEDx talk. So if you're into TEDx talks, you got to check out Ronen Goffney's talk. This is my partner. Ronen spent 5 years creating the game of FreshBiz. We literally have a board game. And we take our board game around the world through our partners to be able to train people to play a better game of business. And I'll get more into that in a couple seconds. Ronen spent 5 years creating the game, and he really did it because he said to himself, there's no real good business games out there. Right? There's no real business games that train us to actually be better at business. We'll mention a few of them in a couple moments, but it's been an amazing journey. It was about a couple years ago that we got an email from Wiley's. Wiley's is a big publishing house in North America saying, man, we find the work that you guys do fascinating. Would you consider writing a book? And I remember we were just high-fiving. We were so fired up for the opportunity of being able to write a book. And we call it The New Entrepreneurz. It's on Amazon. It's on Audible. I think we just got to like 115 five-star reviews as of like a couple days ago, so it resonates with people, which is really nice. And it's one of the goodies available today for being here as part of Life Hacks as well. And in terms of what we talk about, I just want to say something. You know, what is entrepreneurship? What is entrepreneurial thinking? Why does it matter? Well, this is how our book opens up. It says, who are the new entrepreneurs? They are the game changers who could be found playing different games across the spectrum. They're the business owners, the managers, the lawyers, the moms and dads, the lovers, the educators, artists, and healers. Entrepreneurship is no longer just about business. It is the new mindset. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. I don't care if you're a solopreneur, you're an entrepreneur, a small business owner, or you're an employee working for a big company. Doesn't matter. Nowadays, you got to develop the skill of entrepreneurial thinking. We define that not by starting businesses, but your ability to know that no matter what shows up, you can win the game of business. No matter what. You want to turn an idea into reality, you can do it. You have the skill. And that's really what we talk about. I guess just to give you some of the philosophy, I'll say it like this. We see business as a game. Business is a game. What does that mean? Well, there's game mechanics. I'll tell you what it means. In the game of business, there's a sense of advancing, a sense of going backwards, a sense of team, a sense of what the mission is, a sense of winning, a sense of not winning. There's game mechanics because it's a game. Now, I'm not saying that we don't need to take it seriously. Okay, we do, or that there's not real-life consequences if the shit hits the fan. There might be, but it's a game in the sense that it wasn't created by the universe. It wasn't created by God. It was created by us. We, people, we create the game of business. So with that said, business is a game today. Do you guys agree with that? Okay, cool. Many of you don't agree with it, and that's okay. And the reason why is because you're now asking yourself this question, and we think about this. Man, if business is a game, then why the hell isn't it more fun? What's that about? My position at FreshBiz, aside from being the co-founder, is I am the CFO, the Chief Fun Officer. And I take my position very seriously. So why isn't business more fun? Well, here's the answer for you. Because for the most part, we've all been brought up in a system that trains us to be engaged with fear-based games. Games that are based on fear. Those elements. What do I mean by that? Games based on competition. Games that are zero-sum. Games that are win-lose. Games about destroying other people. Who here has ever played the game of Monopoly? Raise your hand. Most of us, right? What an amazing game. You're training your brain that business is an environment where in order to win, you have to bankrupt and destroy everybody financially. Wow, awesome. Thank you, Monopoly. Anybody ever play the game of chess? It's a great game, right? You learn that if you want to win chess, you have to kill your friend's king. Good message, huh? Anybody ever play the game of Risk if you have like 75 hours? Yeah? So in the game of Risk, you learn that you win Risk by literally you taking over the entire world and killing everybody else and their entire country along the way. Great message. It was about 5 weeks ago that Hasbro came out. They said, you know what, Monopoly, old school. It's like, oh, finally, for goodness sake. They're like, you know what the world needs now? And you can read this online. It's crazy. They came out with something called Monopoly for Cheaters. Wonderful. Thank you for already destroying us in our brains about how we think about business. Now you can get Monopoly for Cheaters, which is, hey, you can play a good game of Monopoly, but can you also cheat from the bank and steal your neighbor's stuff and move pieces without anybody looking successfully? You're like, is that a skill that I want to work on? Oh, my God. We've been brought up playing the wrong games, games that train our brain, that we have to screw other people in business. We have to seek and destroy. And it does damage to us. It does. When you play a game, it rewires your brain. It's a simulation. Anybody ever see the movie The Matrix? Awesome movie, right? What happens in it? It's a great example of a simulation. Neo goes into the Matrix and he comes out going, I know Kung Fu. And he does, because he went in a simulation to learn it. Simulations are powerful. It's the ultimate hack. The ultimate hack. This is life hacks. It's the ultimate hack. Your brain does not distinguish between real life or simulation. So you can get really good in a simulation, and immediately you'll be able to get really good in that exact area in life. This is how athletes train, in some cases for the Olympics. This is how commercial pilots have to spend 40 days in a flight simulation before they can go work for a real airline. So our game of FreshBiz allows people, instead of playing a game about destroying other people, the game of FreshBiz is about the collaborative quest, how all of us can go on a quest together that's time-based, because life is time-based. Life is the ultimate time-based game. And in the game of FreshBiz, it's about getting people really good at the skills that we actually need today, the skill of innovation, collaboration, creativity, proactivity, strategy. My point for you guys is no matter what you do, just remember you're training your brain, whatever it is. So make sure that you play good games. You know, it gets really crazy if you ever play the game of Grand Theft Auto on a big television screen, and then you want to go out to your car and drive. Play the right games. So that's where the FreshBiz game comes in, like I mentioned before. Because here's the deal. It's a new world. There's new skills to build. There's new skills. It's a new world. Collaboration is the new competition. That's a fact. So if collaboration is the new competition, we have to get really good at it. Now, if I asked you all, hey, who here thinks that collaboration is important? Everybody and their mother would raise their hand. But all because you know something is important or you know it's good doesn't give you the skill that you can actually do it. That's different. A big part of the simulation of FreshBiz is developing the muscle memory that people have, that they know the skill of collaboration. Communication is faster than ever before. People want to develop what's called multi-dimensional thinking. In other words, yeah, I want to make good money, but I also want to have a purpose-driven experience, and I also want to have lifestyle, and I want to have family things. It's really important for a lot of people. It's all about energy efficiency, as you guys see. It's not enough just to do something. You want to do the right stuff that really unlocks you and gives you a sense of passion and purpose. Also, change is constant. You know what that means? I'm very nervous when people call themselves experts, because expert means I'm done learning, I made it. And if you know anything about digital marketing, you know, if you say that you're a Facebook marketing expert and Mark Zuckerberg changes the algorithm tomorrow, which happens all the time, then guess what that means? You're not an expert anymore. You're like everyone else. You got to start from scratch. So don't be an expert. Be a growth mindset person that's committed to the skill of learning new skills. Anyways, over the past bunch of years, we've taken over 50,000 participants from more than 20 countries through our game-based training experiences. And we get to work with really cool entrepreneurs and business partners and things like that. As a matter of fact, I met TB and Victor and Emily because they're part of Universum. FreshBiz is in about 25 countries. Our game is in 15 different languages. That we've done it over the past 7.5 years. And what we do is we partner with training companies and coaches and consultants and mentors that are looking for a fresh tool to develop entrepreneurial thinking. So we had our first partner here 2 years ago. They're called Universum, and they run FreshBiz basically training in Romanian here. And we do a lot of work for small business owners and entrepreneurs, and definitely for a lot of companies too. And I'm showing you this list because I want to let you know that what's happening, which is exciting, is a lot of companies are starting to really care less about just the bottom line of making money, but also about the experience along the way. They want to unlock their employees. They want to give them all sort of the amazing things that they see happening in the entrepreneurship scene. They want to bring that vibe to their team, to their employees. And it's a beautiful process that's happening also. Okay, you guys ready? Amazing. I want to give you 3 key things I think about the new shared economy, 3 important elements over here. So let's do this. These are 3 foundational ideas, I call them. Okay, so 1, we've already talked about this. Business is a game. Now, guess what that means that business is a game? If you don't like the game that you're playing right now, go play a different game. If you don't like the people that you're playing the game with, go get different people. If you don't like the people and the game, go get different people and a different game. Go make up the game. That's what the word disruption means, right? We hear this a lot in the sort of the startup system about disruption. Wow, they're disrupting the FinCare industry and the healthcare industry. They're disrupting this. What does disruption mean? It means that they're saying, hey, let's take something and let's create a fresh, new game out of it. Awesome. Business is a game. 2, if it's a game and you want to get really good at the game, you want to get really good at hacking the game, at winning the game, you got to have an entrepreneurial mindset. You got to come from a place that no matter what life's going to throw your way, you could be successful. Not because necessarily you're so great, but because between you and all your friends, family, resources, and things out there, you have what it takes. And I think it's Tony Robbins that says it's not about resources, it's about being resourceful. And that's really such a key distinction, too. And the third thing is about creating lifestyle experiences. This is me in Koh Samui, Thailand, diving into a pool of an Airbnb that we got to rent over there. By the way, life hack for you. Anybody ever stay in an Airbnb? Okay, it's fun to travel, right? So one of the things that a lot of people don't know is that you can actually negotiate on Airbnb. I let some of these people know. I basically said, look, I'm going for like close to 2 months. I got to get a really good deal. I sent 20 emails to these people saying, hi, my name is Simcha. This is my first time I'm taking my family to Thailand. I'm an author. I'm looking for a beautiful spot to be able to write my second book. Your place looks amazing. You're asking this, and I can afford this. Can we do something like this instead? Let me know. I got about 18 no's. I got 2 yeses, and literally we were in paradise for a really good price. So life hack number whatever it is for today is just know that everything is negotiable. Everything is a conversation. Okay, everything is a conversation. This was just absolutely incredible. By the way, life hack number 2 about this is every single day that I was in Thailand with my family, we would choose a different beach to go to, but I would spend an hour in the morning on LinkedIn. That's the professional social network that we use a lot. And then I would come home to do about an hour and a half of 2 hours of phone calls. I got to tell you something. Being by this pool with this view, I had the most powerful phone calls of my life every single night. I literally went to the local store to buy a button-down shirt so that when I would do Skype calls, I'd be in a bathing suit with my feet in the pool with like a button-down shirt for the Skype video. And man, I promise you, you put yourself in a really good environment, you're going to have really high-level calls with people too. Okay, good. I want to just pause right now. If anybody has any questions on what I just said, that was like the first part, the philosophy, the mindset. This is now case studies. So I don't know if there's any questions out there. If there are, you want to put up on the screen and we'll get to it? Okay. 1 tip for learning the skill to learning new skills. Yeah, that's a good one. A tip for that is to really explore the world of what's out there. I'm talking about check out things like online courses, whether it be on Coursera or whether it be on Uversity or whether it be in Khan Academy. There's so many new courses that can expose you to new information, new ideas, new possibilities. I would say also check out Kickstarter, right? That's an incredible crowdfunding world for people that have incredible ideas across the spectrum, whether it be in art, drama, theater, technology, publishing, printing, whatever. The more you expose yourself to new worlds, travel, right? This is something that Jason mentioned earlier today, and so did Colin. Traveling expands your mind. The more you expand your mind, then you get to bring those worldly views back to your local areas, and that is awesome to do. So that's what I would say in terms of a really good way to learn new skills. Go out, poke the box, explore the world, and see what's out there. Good? Let's go back to presentation maybe? Cool. By the way, if you have questions, again, we're going to be doing this a couple more times, and it's my pleasure. Okay, cool. Let's explore some case studies. Case studies that talk about, or case studies that indicate that applying those 3 techniques. 1, knowing that business is a game. 2, developing entrepreneurial thinking as a skill or a mindset. And 3, really coming from a place of how to add lifestyle to your life now, how these people do it. Ready? Let's look at the first one. This was about 5 years ago. I was invited to a conference in New York City. They gave me a VIP pass to go see Seth Godin. Anybody ever hear of Seth Godin? Cool, right? Like a really nerdy guy with glasses, but really amazing, but like the really funky glasses. You know what I'm talking about. And man, he's brilliant. Brilliant author, speaker. Anyways, at this conference, he had a bunch of really cool startups that were on stage. And one of them was BarkBox. If you don't know, and I don't know how BarkBox is doing today, this isn't relevant necessarily for 2018, but this is 5 years ago. BarkBox came out basically for doggy parents. I didn't know that word before they said it. But doggy parents are people who are not just dog owners, because that means I own my dog. They're doggy parents, because their dog is like their kid. Okay? I'm not a dog owner, so I don't know what that's like. But for other people, it's like doggy parents. They have a subscription where on a monthly basis, they deliver doggy boxes that come with like treats and snacks and toys, and dogs get to just like rip it open, and just they're so fired up for the month of March to get the new box in the mail. And the doggy parents are fired up. And this woman who is one of the founders up there was talking about their model and how they basically grew it to be several millions of dollars in like less than 2 years. And I was so impressed. Like, oh my gosh, brilliant. A subscription model for doggy parents, that's so cool. At one point they opened it up to questions, and this other lady raises her hand and says, hey, I got a question for you. At what point are you guys going to open up something called Meow Box for cats? It's like, oh, that's an interesting idea. Maybe next we'll go do Moo Box, and then Box. All sorts of boxes, right? And you know what her answer was? Her answer was never. Why not? She said, because me and my 3 other co-founders, we all have dogs and we love dogs. We don't care about cats. We'll let someone else that cares about cats open up Meow Box. We're just about BarkBox. That's it. And then the woman's response was, yeah, but aren't you therefore leaving money on the table? And she's like, yeah, but we don't want that money. What a cool place to be in. A place of confidence, going, I'm not looking to make more money. I'm looking to live an awesome life and to do a business that suits my needs. The game that they're playing is very simple. We're playing a game about doggy owners. And I liked her confidence so much. I think it was an awesome lesson. Okay, case study number 2. If you ever go to Amsterdam, you just have to type in the best chocolate cookie in the world, and you will find this place called Van Stiepel's. Von Stiepel's is run by this lady named Eva, and I was so blown away by her. This was so exciting. Eva is someone who, if you were really into baking things and you asked your parents, hey, I'm going to open up a bakery, what should I do? They would say, oh, open up a bakery and have all sorts of stuff. She, in her shop, sells one cookie, this cookie. That's it. You want anything else? She doesn't have it. You want one cookie, the best chocolate cookie in the world, you go to Von Stiepel's. And I went there and I said to her, I'm like, you got a lot of balls, How did you, what's your model? How does it work? And you want to know what she told me? She goes, this is my favorite cookie in the world. I love making it. I make 500 cookies every single day. And on Saturday and Sunday, I make 1,000 cookies. And when I sell out of them, I go on my bike and I go home to party. Okay. She's like, some days I leave at 11 o'clock in the morning because I just sold out early. And some days I leave at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and that's also cool. By the way, it helps when you're located near a coffee shop. Different story, though. But I said to her, what an amazing thing. Have you thought about franchising? Are you going to open up? She said, no, this is my pet business, one cookie, nothing else. When I sell out, I go home, and that's my life. Amazing. You got to, this lady knows her game, knows her commitment, and that's her business. Brilliant. Sometimes we can apply entrepreneurial thinking in our lifestyle, like this woman over here. This is an amazing woman. I forgot her name. I think it's Margaret. Margaret is basically in her 70s, married for a long time. She and her husband always enjoyed dancing. And when her husband passed away, she was left a really big will and a really big life insurance. And she realized as she grows older, she has 2 choices. She can either do what her friends are doing, which is putting themselves into some nursing home or an old age home, which is a little bit sad, or she can continue doing what she loves, which is dancing and being social. This lady, for the past 12 years, spends her entire year on a cruise ship. Every year. She lives on a cruise, on the best cruise. It costs her $110,000, which is almost as much as it costs to be in a nursing home. and she gets free food all day long, dances every single night, and has been to 80 countries in the past 12 years. Oh my gosh. If you know a grandma or grandpa, they don't have to have the life that they have also. You're never too old or too late to do new tricks or new ways of thinking about it. That's an incredible life hack, by the way, too. I have one or two more last sort of case studies for you, which is I want to just show you what's possible in terms of how you think when you realize that business is a game, life is a game, and we can create the type of environment that we would like. This girl's name is Alex. And, Jason mentioned before about couch surfing. Well, Alex said, I want to travel the entire world one couch at a time. One couch at a time. I want to go to 80 countries and really see it. So you know what Alex did? She goes, this is the new shared economy. I could literally couch surf the whole world. She made a Kickstarter project called One Couch at a Time. And she used it as a way to raise the $15,000 that she needed to be able to travel the entire world for the course of, I think it was about 9 or 10 months. And she basically used Kickstarter to crowdfund her project to travel 80 countries, one couch at a time, and then shoot the documentary that filmed her having conversations with people who host couch surfers and people who go couch surfing to learn about that whole world, and just living her ultimate dream. Being able to travel, do documentaries, meet people, be social, using a crowdfunding platform to fund the whole thing. It's like unbelievable. When I was telling this to, I told this to someone who is like in their 60s. They're like, I don't know, it sounds illegal. No, it's not illegal to be really creative. And nowadays we're living in the era of creativity. The last story I'm going to share is from our book, The New Entrepreneurz. There's someone really cool out there in the world named John Levy. John Levy hosts something called Influencers Dinner. One Friday night every single month, he invites some of the coolest influencers in their field over to his house to not only just have dinner, but to actually prepare, cook, and bake the meal together, and then they sit down to eat. And we're talking, he has some of the top CEOs. He has the architect that designed Google. He had Malcolm Gladwell over. He's got some actors. He's got the #1 poker player. He's got the #1, meaning big people in all sorts of interdisciplinary fields. And I said to John, I'm like, wow, what an awesome idea. How does it work? And he's like, well, at this point now, I've already had close to 2,000 influencers in my life. He actually runs an influencer marketing company because of his network that he had. But it all started from a self-development weekend workshop that he went to, where the mentor that he had, it was called Wisdom, and the mentor basically said, hey, John, if you want to know how to live an extraordinary life, you need to look at two things. It really is that simple. One, the people that are in your life, the people who surround you. Go look at them. And then two, go listen to the types of conversations that those people are having with each other, them to you, and you back at them. So people, and then the quality of the conversation. You want to live an extraordinary life? His mentor said, surround yourself with awesome people that are having quality conversations. John took it to heart. He started Influencers Dinner. It's in New York City. By the way, New York City people have a lot of ego, a lot of prestige, a lot of that stuff. So John's like, how do I create an Influencers Dinner where people's egos don't show up? So guess what he did? He created the Influencers Dinner in a way where people come together. They're not allowed to introduce themselves and say what they do, which in New York City is like, oh my God, then what am I going to talk about? Instead, what they do is they come, they cook the whole meal together, and only at the end of an entire meal where they become friends, they become like in relationships with each other, do they discover who they are and their background and what they do. What an awesome, cool thing. Yeah, for sure. So I want to just put this out there. If you feel like you're ready to start doing Influencers Dinner here in Bucharest in Romania, go for it. You're going to make amazing connections along the way, which are going to help you 1 billion times forward. Okay, cool. Good. So before we get to the next slide, any questions about some of the case studies or about entrepreneurial thinking or the game of business that anybody wants to ask? I don't know if there's any questions out there. You want to just throw up the screen if there are, or if they're not, we'll just go on. Boop, boop. Okay, great. We're going to go on. Okay, good. So I want to wrap you up with a couple of actionable tools that you can apply in your life that I feel like no matter what you're doing will help you either with your business, with a side project, or just having the knowledge that it's out there. Because often just that is already enough. So here are 6 online tools to help you fly. And by the way, I'm not saying that each one is going to be good for you or perfect for you, because this is life. You can't just copy and paste things all the time. You know, I know that very often we read articles like, the 5 things you must do tomorrow about blank, or the 7 things that every employee must know. And you're like, they don't really need to know all that stuff. Or this isn't really, not everything is for everybody. But here are some really good tools that will help you, okay? So, by the way, I want to just share before I go into this, in terms of how we work with FreshBiz. So we have a game-based training company, and we basically are brought in to deliver talks and workshops around the world. We also have about 100 training partners around the world in 25 countries that deliver our trainings as well. So for us, our business model is that we basically are brought in to run trainings. We also basically have training kits for trainers and coaches, and then we also sell our book. That's pretty much like our three different arms, if you will, of our business. So here are some great things that really work for us. One has been LinkedIn. Now, look, I don't know if LinkedIn is so powerful here. I heard that some people are on it, but they're just on it so that they feel like they're on it to not miss out on something. Cool. I don't know if you have a different type of professional social network here. If you do, whatever business social network you have, I would encourage you to really invest in yourself and become really strong on it. I don't mean that from a place of like a lot of time, but you want to like really get good at it. Really get good at it. I'm going to explain to you why. LinkedIn for us has been one of the strongest tools ever of finding the most amazing partners, reaching the trainers, the chief learning officers, the chief innovation officers, and additional HR managers to be able to do what we do. Our goal is to make the world a better, smarter, faster place in business, in school, in life. LinkedIn's been a really incredible tool. And I guess what I'll tell you is, I'll tell you the reason why. You could send anybody an email, but when you send someone an email, they don't necessarily know who you are. You're just a person sending an email. It's almost like, I don't know about you, but I know that for me, emails are almost annoying nowadays. It's like, oh my gosh, I already have too many. What's going to happen today? I'm probably going to get more than too many, right? Like that's where we're going, right? But what happens is on LinkedIn, when you reach out to someone on LinkedIn, they go back to your profile, and if they see that you have an established profile, they go, oh, okay, this is a serious person. So it's a way of like qualifying yourself to people that you want to have a potential conversation or a potential partnership with. And that's really important. It's a really important tool. By the way, just a few things for you, just because we're wrapping up, is on LinkedIn, ideally, you want to get to 500 plus connections. That shows that you're serious. You want to get to 99 plus for a couple of your skills. And you also want to have some letters of recommendation. Someone else that's not your mom or dad that says, this person's really good at what they say they're really good at. Because that's already social proof. That establishes credibility. You do that, oh my gosh. You guys got me so far about LinkedIn or a professional network? Use it. Get on it, okay? Don't just get on it to have a profile that sits just in case. You can actively use it in a very cool way. Now that you know about this tool, I want to just share with you how you hack LinkedIn, okay? When I say hack, I don't mean something illegal. I just mean blowing your mind about what's actually possible above and beyond just a simple linear process of step by step by step by step, how to go right up the mountain like you see this guy here in the picture. There's a tool that I bought. I bought this about 2 years ago. It's a bunch of Indians from India. It's called GPZ. And what's really cool about GPZ is this is like an automated tool that just does all your heavy lifting. I'm just going to share this with you. It does 3 things that are game-changing for me and for FreshBiz and for our partners. Number 1, I could basically search for anybody I want and then tell GPZ to just go look at all their profiles. And then I come out to a conference like this, and while I'm here, I have GPZ on my laptop just working, looking at 400 profiles a day. Now, what happens is when you look at people's profiles, at least on LinkedIn, it tells them that you're looking at your profile. And then what do you think they do? They go check out your profile. If they check out your profile and they like it, it's like I swipe right on Tinder and they swipe right on Tinder. Woo! Then they send me a connection, and then we can have a relationship. So it's like a sort of like a secondary way of being able to have people connect to you. Cool. Here's what's even more powerful. Number 2, what GPZ does, I can set it basically for saying, hey, you know what? I'm going to be coming, for example, to New York City at the end of April. Who do I want to meet when I'm in New York City for those like 10 days in April? I want to talk to HR managers, and I want to talk to chief learning officers. So I can basically do a search targeting New York City and then set GPZ to send all 1,265 people a connection message that says, hey, I'm Simcha Gluck, co-founder of FreshBiz GLobal, author of the new Entrepreneurz, coming at the end of April. We should definitely connect and probably have a conversation too. All of a sudden, I'm out of my house, I'm here, and GPZ is just sending 1,200 connection emails over the course of about 4 or 5 days. You don't want to get like thrown off for like sending 1,200 in 3 minutes. But wow, amazing. All of a sudden, it does the work for me as opposed to going one by one. Click, type, message, boop, boop. Click, type, 1,400. And then once that's done, step number 3, what GPZ does is I can set it to email all of my new connections. So I viewed people's profiles, and then I connected with them. And now that I connected with them, I'd like to have a relationship with them. I'm not here to spam people. I'm here to give value, right? So once we're a connection, hey, I'm so happy that we're connected. Why don't you check out our TEDx talk about changing the game of business? If it resonates with you, let's have a call together. Simple, fair, good content. People like to watch a TED talk, right? It feels like you're being productive. You can actually learn something really good. That sounds good. It works. Oh my gosh. I don't know what social network you use for professional space, but I just want to tell you, if it is LinkedIn, check out GPZ Tools. If it's not LinkedIn, then learn about how you can hack the game of your professional social network here in Bucharest, because it makes all the difference, all the difference. Next, something called EverWebinar. I don't know if you know about this, but a lot of you have something to say that you know really well, whether it's about the topic of health and wellness or sexuality or biking or extreme sports, whatever it is. Well, here's the deal. EverWebinar is your opportunity to shoot and record a very simple webinar in your house that basically goes live as often as you want. In other words, it's a recorded live webinar, and then it just will replay for you, and you could just set the times. So people feel like they're coming to like a live showing. I'm not lying to them. I'm not telling them that it is or it isn't, but like they can really appreciate your message. Why do you want to do that? Well, this is called life hacks. I'm going to tell you why. I found that before our webinar, a lot of my phone calls was like me spending about 15 minutes to just give them background. You think I wanted to continue wasting 15 minutes every single time I get on a phone call to just give people background and context before we can even have a productive conversation? It's a waste of time. So we recorded a webinar, and what we did is people that want to have a conversation with us about being a partner or inviting us in, we say, hey, amazing, we're in. That sounds so awesome. Before we do that, why don't you just check out our webinar, and this way most of your questions will be answered. We could just have a really energy-efficient phone call together. They're like, cool, thanks, no problem. And then what happens is we get to the phone call, they're already set. They already watch what we do. They've already pre-screened themselves. If they want to talk, they're there. If they don't want to talk, that's because they watched the whole webinar. And by the way, don't do like a 2-hour webinar. Our first one was about like 60 minutes long, and that was too much because there's analytics. We found that people dropped off. We went back, we did it again. We made the webinar about 26 minutes. People stay for the whole thing. And the webinar is not talking about like, oh, here's how great we are. Here's how much we can sell you more stuff. It's not about that. It's called Why Games Are Changing the Training Industry. And it's literally all value-based. There's like only content for them. This webinar is how we screen out that when they show up to a phone call, man, they're ripe and ready. And that's the next thing. Look, naturally, I'm not the most responsible person. I've had to do a lot of training on myself to like be someone who has integrity. If I say I'm going to be there at 8 o'clock, I'm going to be there at 8 o'clock. Doing things like scheduling phone calls, especially we're global. I don't know what your surroundings are, but global, there's like 7-hour time differences and 5-hour time differences. And I know that Israel just changed the clock, but we didn't change the clock here. It's like all that stuff. Before knowing about time trade, or many of you might call it Calendly or things like that, I used to try and go back and forth like 3 or 4 emails to just set up a time where we could have a phone call together. Unproductive. You're wasting your energy. You're wasting your time. Time trade cost me $49 a year. That's it. And I basically have a really cool message with a cool picture, and my calendar is up there. And I actually, every single month, choose the slots that I'm available for people to talk to me in. Every single month, I just like set the different time slots. You could do it every week. You could do it every day. Once people go ahead and I find them on LinkedIn, and then I use GPZ to target them, and then I have a webinar that they can watch so that when they show up to a phone call, they're scheduling that phone call through time trade. They get to choose when they want to have a phone call with me. And then guess what? It just shows up in my Google Calendar. It's so nice. There's no back and forth. People not use Google Calendar anymore? Anyways. So that's what time trade is. It's amazing. It helps you be really efficient with your time. I love just sort of waking up and the next morning all of a sudden like, oh, you have 2 phone calls this week already scheduled because people did stuff on LinkedIn. Amazing. Skype is another amazing tool. This is number 5. I think we have one tool left in the last minute that I have with you. Skype is awesome. It's free. And if it's not free, it means that you're using it to call other countries, no problem. But it's so nice, whether it's Skype or WhatsApp, to be able to speak to people around the world for free in real time. I mean, it's a game changer, The last thing I'm going to share with you that is a really strong tool for us and for being able to grow our company FreshBiz around the globe these past 7 years is called Proposify. Who here runs a business, but you're like, really don't like sending proposals because it's really annoying? You know what I'm talking about? But it's like sad that that's really annoying because proposals is how you make deals, which is how you make money, which is how you keep going. So why should proposals ever be annoying? That's so sad. Proposify is an online tool. They have a freemium model, so you can get it for free or you can pay for it, where basically it's a beautiful online templated proposal. All I do is I just change the company name or the person I'm talking to, the email address. It has our videos in there. It has beautiful pictures in there. It has takeaways, insights, a case study, everything I would want to put our best foot forward. And then we just click on proposal. We send it. And what happens is they get it. If they like it, they can click accept, digitally sign their name, and even click to transfer us money. It takes me 30 seconds to send a proposal nowadays. That's crazy. Awesome. And by the way, you see what this message says? Proposify is really cute. Every now and again, I'll get an email, ooh, Mitchell Simon accepted your proposal. This guy lives in San Francisco. Time to pop some bubbly and celebrate. Oh, but before you indulge too much, better reach out to your client and thank them and sort out any next steps. It tells me when they opened up the proposal, how long they spent on each page, and when they accept, it sends me a really fun message also. It's nice, by the way. Business is fun, and this is a fun tool. It says pop some bubbly, I usually do, and I celebrate a proposal being accepted. Okay, people. First of all, thank you so much for giving me 40 minutes to be able to share a story, look at companies with a fresh approach on how you could do business in a whole new way. Thank you also for the opportunity of being able to share some tools with you. I hope that you really take them and you use them as well. Now it's just really on you guys to actually take it and go fly. I want to just say one last thing before I get to questions, which is sometimes we ask advice about how to do something in business from a different generation or from somebody that had a different experience than right now, and we get the wrong advice from a very well-intentioned person. Don't let that sink your ship, ever. There's an incredibly powerful video, if you type this into YouTube, called Training Fleas. They found that they can train fleas. Check this out. Scientists in a laboratory can put fleas are like little bugs that can jump like 12 inches, in a little tiny jar. They found that when the fleas stay in a little tiny jar for 3 days, those fleas, for the rest of their life, will never jump higher than that jar ever again in their lifetime. But the most powerful thing is when they reproduce, the fleas' offspring forever will never jump higher than that jar. Many of us in this room are fleas. We were raised in a jar. But that's over. There's no more jar. We're not fleas. The laboratory is over. We can jump as high as we want to jump. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Let's get to questions. How easy is it for you to change your environment and the players? In real life, it seems like a hard process. Yeah, look, if we're being honest with ourselves, it's not always the easiest thing. Sometimes you have to pick up, and there's a lot of variables out there, and you don't know what it looks like. Sometimes, by the way, you don't know what you're going to go to next. Sometimes, ever been in like a bad relationship? You're just like, look, I don't have any guarantee that I'm ever going to get into a good relationship, but this is a bad relationship, so I'm going to get the hell out. Start with that. Start with getting out of a bad game or a bad environment, and then you'll figure out the rest because you're open to what's next. I don't have any easy answer for you, but go with your intuition and trust yourself. Do you have any traditional ways for being more productive? You talked about apps, but what about planners and et cetera? Are you a fan of them? This is Life Hacks. I'm a fan of anything that's going to make you more productive. If you're less about digital tools and you're more about real-life tools and real-life pens and pencils and notebooks and calendars, then go do what you want with something comfortable for you. That's the deal. Don't do things that are not comfortable because then they're not going to stick. And I believe that if we're going to optimize our life and we're going to maximize all of our resources, we have to do things that we find easy to do for us. So do whatever makes sense for you. Great talk, you rock. Thanks, I appreciate it. Thanks. Thanks. What I'm going to do is that's it. So let me just go to the last slide of the presentation that has just my details, my information, so that when we leave today, we can continue the conversation outside the conversation. And of course, I'm here for dinner and the networking event afterwards. And if I could be a resource for you, either here in Bucharest, in Israel, or globally, it's my pleasure. These are some of my details over here. Simcha Gluck, I'm the Chief Fun Officer. That's our company website, freshbizgame.com. This is really hard to read because it's in blue for some reason, but I'll tell you what it says. It says my email, which is simcha@freshbizgame.com. And I'm on LinkedIn and Facebook. If I could ever be a resource for you, I'm literally here as part of my mission when I'm not serving my family, to serve the world, to create a better, more fun business environment. Thank you guys so much for your time. God bless you. Have an awesome day.